Hey, how are you today? This is Josh Patrick, and you're at Cracking the Cashflow Code. And my guest today is Paul Arnold, who is the author of a recent released book called The Business Strategy Success Principles. So I'm kind of curious about the title. So I want to start the conversation with Paul about what sort of success principles he's talking about. So let's bring Paul on. Hey, Paul, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Josh, and thanks you so much for having me on your show. It's a pleasure to be here today. And yes, I wrote the book. Originally, I was start wanted to write a book for new entrepreneurs on how to start a business. And then I started working on that book, and then I attended a book writing workshop, and I started on writing one about how to take your business to the next level. So what I ended up doing is combining these two ideas all into one book, call it Business Strategy Success Principles. I must admit, one of the strategies with using the name was I also am a follower of Jack Canfield too, and he wrote about his success principles, and I want to also echo that idea. But there's basically 20 principles for throughout the book, and starting with things on sales, on branding, marketing, building up your team. And then I get in the later chapters on, okay, here's some ideas to take your business to the next level. So if you need to pivot your business, here's some strategies. If you need some new ideas on, you want some new ideas to the next level to elevate things, then I also share some other strategies there as well. So, I worked in sales and marketing for about 30 years, and then I've run my own businesses for about 14 years, and financial services. I also bought a networking business too, and I got an opportunity to interview a lot of very successful entrepreneurs and very established business owners. So by interviewing them, I also learned some of their secrets for building successful businesses, and how to really grow a sustainable business.
Okay, so I want to just ask you a question here. Is that in my experience, there isn't a business owner alive that's going to pay attention to 20 principles. They'll pay attention maybe to three to five. So, of your 20, what are the most important three to five for our listeners to pay attention to?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And one thing I do is when I talking to someone who just purchased my book or a new reader, what I suggest is they read through chapter 21. And the reason being is because chapter 21 summarizes the entire book. So then you could actually read through that, just skim through that, and okay, here's what I'm really interested in. So if you want to learn more about sales, more about marketing, I can tell you some of the chapters I'm proud of is, and the first one, I'm talking about the importance of having a vision and a mission statement. So really critical to having a clear vision of where you want your business to go in the future, and because that helps guide a lot of the as you're building up your business, that helps guide a lot of your strategies there. And another chapter which was influenced by Jack Canfield, is understanding what your why is. So you can even go as far as creating a vision board and understand, okay, why am I going to work so hard in this business? What's going to drive me? Why am I doing this? And there's a section in the latter part of the book on pivoting your business. And I actually got certified as a business analyst. And what I learned is that how Fortune 500 companies pivot their business, and that's through this business established business analysis approach. So that first involves, planning out your strategy, about understanding who the stakeholders are, those key players. And I have a section that's called the strategy matrix. So it's basically you understand, okay, here's I'm good at, and here's what I need help with, and here's what's going to be most profitable for my book, or for my business, excuse me. And then you basically can figure out, okay, well, if this is something that's going to drive a lot of revenue, but I'm not very strong at, like, say for example, building a website. Well, then there's something that you want, as you build out your team, you want to outsource those things. But if you're really strong at some things like social media or marketing or other aspects, then you can focus on that yourself. So because I think what a lot of business owners as or new entrepreneurs do is as when they start building out their team, they hire people who has similar to themselves. And what the most important thing is, you want to outsource people who have complementary skill sets to you. So if you're not strong in accounting, or if you're not comfortable with sales, then that's who you should be outsourcing or hiring your virtual assistants or whoever you're working with as part of your team. So So those are a couple of
Yeah.
the principles that I talk about in my book is not only for new entrepreneurs, but also some ways if you need to pivot your business. And that was one of the other things that
Okay,
was
so
inspired
Paul, I
for
want to
going through the pivoting your business.
Paul, you've talked about three or four or five things. Let's stop for a minute and go back and look at some of them. My question is, business owners, at least small business owners with less than 50 employees, who are primarily people listening to the show, they're not going to do a complicated Fortune 1000 analysis of anything. I can promise you that that doesn't work because I tried it. And my first business plan in 1982 or so was about 90 pages long, and nobody read it, including me, after I got it done. It never got to be useful until we reduced our planning down to 4 pages. So, how do you take a Fortune 1000 process and make it simple enough that a business owner who has 1 or 2 hours a week to work on strategy can actually implement it?
Yeah, and one of the things I mentioned too is doing the strategy matrix because that actually can be fairly simple. So it can be taking, okay, so I'm really strong with social media, but I'm not so strong at creating websites. So that's goes on the y-axis, and then on the other axis it goes on. Okay, this is going to be very profitable for my business. This is not going to be profitable for my business, and it's basically just marking that on a 2 by 2 matrix on what is. So if something is not going to be profitable for your business and you're not very strong at doing it, then it's obviously something you shouldn't focus on. But what is really getting down to is focus. Okay, here's what I want to focus on. Okay, I'm really strong at social media marketing, and I believe that this can increase my sales for my business. So I'm going to focus on that, but I'm going to outsource a website designer to for my business because I believe that that can help bring people to read about my business and to they want to sign up for to purchase my product or my service. They can do that through my website. So that's one thing is in the section on pivoting your business is I tricks and getting back into your vision and your mission statement is getting a clear picture of where you want your business to go in the future. So I again, I think that's very important to have a clear vision and mission statement on, okay, I want to in 20 years I want to have 100 200 clients in from in of course your target market in the age between 45 and 65 and so what and so forth. So it's anytime you need to do a strategy or revisit your strategy, you want to come back to that vision and mission statement. And in my book I included worksheets too to help you go through those. So if there's one specific thing you want to go through the strategy matrix, I have a worksheet for you to go do that. If you want to go update your vision and your mission statement, I have a worksheet to go through this. So I actually have 8
So,
different
Paul,
worksheets in the back of the book
I
to
got, I
help
got
you
to,
through that
I
process as
got to
well.
interrupt you again, Paul. Um, you, in a mission statement, you're going to put how much you want to have for sales, or you're
Well,
frozen.
you you can certainly have a okay, you can certainly have a target of where you want to be. So obviously, to get a realistic picture of where things are, you have to go through a few years of building out your business. But you could say, for example, if you want to increase your sales by 5% or for 10%, you can certainly have a realistic target of where you want to go year over year. It's
But
very difficult in the
you
first
would
year, of
put that
course.
in a mission statement.
I would include that in a vision plan to there. I do have a section on understanding what your numbers are, and that's more of the okay, here's
That's a
the
whole
goal
different.
plan and
That's a
here's a
whole
business
different.
plan. The,
That's a whole different thing, Paul.
yeah, the vision, I wouldn't include the vision and the mission statement. I wouldn't necessarily include your numbers in that section, but it's more of a it's more of, okay, I want to like it's more of including your you include your target market
That's how long are your mission? How long is your mission statement?
and driving.
Hey, Paul, you have a
Well,
terrible
you want to keep it fairly simple.
Paul. You have a terrible internet connection. You're
My
freezing.
connection is not clear.
It's awful, just awful. I'm going to
Oh,
recommend
I
that we
apologize for that.
I'm going to recommend that we reschedule this when you can get an internet connection that's not freezing on you.
Okay, sorry, I didn't. It looks like clear on my end, but I'm sorry it's not clear on your end
You're
there.
you're freezing, the sound is terrible. I don't want to put this up when it's the sound is so poor. Would you like to reschedule?
Yeah, certainly we could do that. I could have a look and see if there's anything I can do. It sounds fine on my end, but I'm sorry it's not coming
That's not the point. I'm
clear
recording
on
on
your
this
end.
end. I'm recording on this end.
Yes.
Your picture is really not very clear, and which I've had that happen before. But your sound, you keep freezing. You're frozen right now, actually.
Okay, I'm using like a Microsoft. I'm just saying I was using a Microsoft definition. So I'm using a headset, a Plantronics headset.
Your
So I'm not.
internet connection is your problem. Your ISP, you're freezing, which means that your internet is freezing on you.